Obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD, it can really feel like you're in a constant battle with your own mind. But today, we're going to look at it through a really powerful new lens. What if it's not a fight to be won, but an inner beast that you can actually learn to tame? Okay, let's get into it. So, let's just start with a thought experiment. If you've ever dealt with OCD, you know it's so much more than just a little worry. I want you to imagine it as this force inside you, something that feels urgent, incredibly powerful, and just so convincing. It's not a suggestion. It's this intense pressure that feels totally real and demands you do something right now. You know, what's wild is how misunderstood this beast really is. So often, people hear OCD and they think, oh, that's just being super neat and organized. But the reality, it's a completely different world. We're not talking about a personality quirk here. It's a neurobiological condition. It's driven by a faulty alarm system in the brain, and it traps people in this relentless cycle of anxiety and compulsion. So let's dive into what's actually going on. And this is so crucial because, again, this isn't about personal habits or preferences. We're talking about brain circuitry and a threat perception system that's gone into overdrive. Okay, so here's the clinical definition. It really breaks down into two core parts. First, you've got the obsessions. These are the intrusive, unwanted thoughts that just pop into your head and create this intense anxiety. And then you have the compulsions. Those are the repetitive things you feel like you have to do to get just a little bit of temporary relief. And this beast, well, it can roar about a lot of different things. It is definitely not a one-size-fits-all condition. The themes can be anything from fears about contamination or causing harm, all the way to really distressing sexual or existential thoughts, or just this crushing sense of responsibility that if you don't do something, a disaster will happen. But here's the really tough part. For how severe it is, OCD is often completely invisible. People who are suffering with it learn to hide their symptoms, usually out of shame or fear. And that creates this profound crisis that's just hidden in plain sight. This quote, wow, it just captures the gravity of the situation perfectly. This isn't some mild inconvenience. For so many people, it is one of the most debilitating conditions a person can experience. And it's just quietly wrecking their life from the inside. And all of this invisibility, this silence, it comes at a massive cost. The delay between when OCD symptoms first show up and when people actually get the right kind of help is, well, it's staggering. And that delay matters a lot. Let's just put some numbers to this so you can see the scale. In a country like Australia, it's estimated that around 720,000 people are living with OCD completely undiagnosed or unnoticed. I mean, that is a huge number of people just suffering in silence. And get this statistic is truly shocking. The average delay from when symptoms start to when someone gets a correct diagnosis and proper treatment is nearly a decade. Can you imagine that? 10 years of your life being shaped by this disorder before you even really know what you're dealing with. So why? Why the huge delay? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is a massive workforce gap. It turns out that up to 95% of therapists may not have specific training in the gold standard treatment for OCD, which is something called exposure and response prevention, or ERP. So that means even when people get up the courage to ask for help, they often don't get the kind of help that actually works. Okay, so that's the problem, and it's a big one. But let's shift gears and talk about the solution. If fighting this beast doesn't work, what does? Well, this is where we shift from being a victim of the brain's faulty alarm system to becoming its trainer. Most people very naturally fall into one of two traps. The first one is obeying the beast. You just do the compulsion. But every time you do that, you're basically feeding it. You're teaching it that roaring gets it what it wants. The second trap is fighting it, trying to push the thoughts away. And we all know how that goes, right? It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The second you let go, it just shoots back up with even more force. So if you can't obey it and you can't fight it, you have to train it. And this is what we're calling the lion tamer technique, which is clinically known as ERP. And it sounds so simple. Step 1, the beast roars. You get that intrusive thought. Step 2, it demands a response, that intense pressure to fix it. And then here it is, the most powerful step. You wait. You intentionally do nothing. Even creating a tiny gap of 5 seconds before you react, that's the start of taking your power back. You know, any good trainer knows their animal, and the OCD beast has different kinds of roars. You've got the loud one, right? The classic, obvious, intrusive thought that's easy to spot. But then there's the much sneakier, rational roar.
the one that disguises itself as just being logical or responsible. And then you've got the background roar. It's so constant, it just feels like it's part of who you are, like, oh, I'm just a worrier.
So what happens when therapy on its own isn't quite enough, especially for really severe cases? Well, this is where things get really exciting. We're now entering a whole new era of care, where technology can seriously boost and support this whole training process.
One of these game-changing technologies is called transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS. It's a non-invasive way to use magnetic fields to gently modulate those specific brain circuits that are just way too overactive in OCD. But here's the crucial thing to understand. It is not a replacement for therapy. Think of it more like a tool that can help unlock the brain, making it way more receptive to all the hard work you're doing in ERP.
Now, I know this slide might look a bit complex, but it's showing a really simple and powerful idea. The best care isn't just one single treatment. It's a whole ecosystem. You can see how TMS, that neuromodulation piece, is just one part of the puzzle. It works right alongside a coordinated team of psychiatrists and psychologists, and it's supported by tech like VR and other digital tools. It's about creating a complete journey to recovery. So to break that down even simpler, this comprehensive approach brings together a bunch of powerful elements. You've got the MRI-guided TMS, you've got the essential exposure therapy, you have digital tools so you can practice your skills, and even virtual reality to create safe places for exposure therapy. The whole point is that it's all coordinated, so treatment isn't just happening in separate silos. And when you zoom out, the bigger picture here is incredibly hopeful. This isn't just about changing how we treat one person, it's about a total transformation in how we understand and manage OCD on a national scale. The key word for the future is convergence. It's not about finding one magic bullet. It's about intelligently combining all these amazing tools, AI, VR, TMS, digital platforms, to create a system of care where the whole is so much greater than the sum of its parts. And this is why this really matters to all of us, not just people with OCD. In a lot of ways, OCD is the perfect teaching disorder. When we understand it, we learn these fundamental lessons about how the human mind works, how fear literally conditions the brain, why trying to avoid things just makes them worse, and how easily our minds confuse risk with responsibility. It's like a national mental health literacy campaign all by itself. And that brings us right back to our final thought. The goal isn't to have a perfectly silent mind. The beast might never go away completely. The goal is to train it. It's to patiently, consistently show that overactive alarm system in your brain who is really in charge. You don't have to win a war. You just have to show it who's holding the food.